Well, my delving into new and old, new series from old properties. I've always thought about Cobra Kai. I've tried recording a reaction. I want to say video, but it's not got video. I wanted to do a recording of reactions to Cobra Kai, at least the first episode. I did recordings for the first two, and I can't seem to get them to upload the right way. Plus, I don't really want to make them for video. I don't really want my face on there. That's not the important part. Yeah, sure, you get reactions with facial expressions, and that does help. Maybe I'm just not ready to do that. And I'm still excited over Cobra Kai, and I'm still interested in doing reactions. So, third time lucky. I guess maybe this is the fourth time. I've seen it a bunch of times already. I was really looking forward to Cobra Kai when I heard about it. I was optimistic about the possibilities of a new iteration of, not a new iteration, a revisiting of the characters from The Karate Kid. I've said this before, and I'm sure it's true. People my age, maybe even people younger, it's The Karate Kid. It's cheesy. It's dated. It's almost an after school special. It's Junior Rocky. It's quaint. It's sweet. It's wholesome and all of that. And I think all those things are actually kind of true in a real positive way. Is it kind of corny? Yeah. Really fits with the 80s. That's kind of my era. Love it or hate it. Yeah, it's Junior Rocky, and I love Rocky. I've got a soft spot for that kind of hero story, for rising to the occasion, standing up for what's right, even if it means getting roughed up a little bit. There are lessons that are important. Everybody probably should be in some kind of a fight, one way or another. Everyone is going to have the mob against them or be the lone man out. Those are moments, well, they rang true for me. And I don't think they go away. I think there's no generation that avoids that. And it makes the movie Karate Kid, it makes the series Cobra Kai, I think it makes it better. Well, I think it helps connect to the audience. Maybe Cobra Kai was made for people my age and not necessarily a new, younger audience. I think a new, younger audience can get something out of it. Maybe that's not who's watching it. I don't know. I think it works. My son liked it. Well, so I hear, whatever it was, more than 2 years ago, certainly more than 2 years, or probably 2.5 years ago. Yeah. Karate Kid's coming back. Maybe it's 3 years ago, whenever the teaser was, whenever the announcement, yeah, Karate Kid's coming back. What do you mean the Karate Kid's coming back? Well, and I had seen the comedy sketch with Ralph Macchio, Wax On, Fuck Off. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it was funny. I heard about all the other online themes or things about the Karate Kid, where the explanation that Johnny was, hey, he was just getting beat up by this new hotshot kid who, came in from out of nowhere and started being a jerk. Well, I think that those online jokes make sense and they connect to the audience, one, because they love the original material. And they connect to the original characters and all of that. And it's so far in our rearview mirror that you think of it, oh, that's funny. Johnny Lawrence is really the underdog, and he's really the hero. He did nothing wrong. Yeah, that's obviously not true. But it certainly lays the groundwork for Cobra Kai. Is Johnny all that wrong? He's a little heavy-handed, and he is taught by Kreese. There's no doubt about it. Kreese is an asshole. He's a jerk. A jerk is not really the right way. He's overly aggressive. He is a problem. These boys in Cobra Kai, they need leadership, they need discipline, they need a group, they need each other, they need a place and something to bind them together into something greater. That's true. Discipline will bring them a long way, focus them a long way. The lessons themselves, as we see them in Karate Kid, seem to be awful. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Well, and the way we see it in Cobra Kai, that they're all, well, they're told to us that it's certainly dangerous. The impression is we have that this is, bullies are being bred in Cobra Kai. When we take a step back, especially with the series Cobra Kai, that's not quite true. We end up sympathizing with Johnny Lawrence when the series begins. And that took me way off guard. I mean, I expected something like that, but it was almost comical how awful of a day Johnny Lawrence has in this opener to to Cobra Kai. And you really can sympathize with him. Well, maybe I'll just go right to the reaction. Yeah, I hope the audio is good. I don't know if this is going to work. I hope it will. Yeah, it just started it. December 19th, 1984. It fades out. All Valley Under 18 Karate Tournament. And boom, there we are. The great announcement where he's going to get the trophy. But no, Allie with an eye comes up to the guy. Yeah, turn it down just so I don't have too much interference. The recap's good. It's almost like watching Doctor Who, where you're getting a recap of what happened last. Now there's, Karate Kid 2 and 3, and then Hilary Swank and Karate Kid 4, which had nothing to do with Daniel, and the remake. But it's like it's the recap at the end of an episode of Doctor Who, or the beginning of the next episode of Doctor Who. So this is where we see Johnny. And you remember at the end of Karate Kid, he's told, sweep the leg, and Johnny's got this shocked look on his face. So I'm going to go at it. My coach wants me to go after Daniel and hurt him. Not really hurt him when it's down, but okay, get his leg, his injured leg. Injure him where he's already injured. You see the look on his face. He's not really good with that. Now here we got Daniel doing the flamingo. Bam, the crane kick right to the face. And what we didn't see in the movie gets shot for this series, Johnny on face down. Defeated. The movie has, respectfully, Johnny hands the trophy to Danny. It's one of the reasons why we're okay with the guy. In the beginning of Karate Kid 2, where Kreese goes after Johnny Lawrence, chokes him, breaks his trophy. We have more sympathy for him. We understand the kid's all right. The rest of the karate school, the dojo, is all right. Kreese is the poison. He's the toxic guy. Now here, Johnny wakes up. It's the next thing we see is him grown up now, current day. And he's not particularly well. He's not doing well. His trophies are hidden away. He's eating crap. He gets up and has warm beer. He's got a little picture of his young kid on his fridge, but he's not that young anymore. He's estranged from his son. He's divorced. He's all alone. He's really not really hanging in. He's just getting through. He's getting by. Yeah, here we get Miguel. Miguel The guy who plays Miguel, boy, is he good. He's this scrawny little. He's more scrawny than Danny was. He's scrawny the way I was when I was in high school. He's probably almost certainly taller than I was. Yeah, he just wants to keep his distance from everybody. This is different from Danny. This is different from Danny at the beginning of Karate Kid. Danny is on the moved into a new area. It's kind of crap. He doesn't have an awful day, worst day, horrible day. But Johnny does. He starts off, and he is reminded by, he's reminded about LaRusso, that LaRusso guy. Yeah, of course, Daniel would have a car dealership. Things go all right for him. And Johnny would certainly see that as he's this cheesy car salesman. He does these ridiculous ads, and he does the kick, the karate kick. Yeah, that's what Danny would do. So it feels right. Not particularly sure why Johnny should be on having a presumably lousy life, but it does work. Maybe he blames Danny LaRusso. Maybe. Might have reasons for it. It seems like, according to this, that's where everything started to go bad. And what we see in Cobra Kai, it sounds like his past, since the kick to the head, everything's generally sort of gone downhill. He peaked in high school, maybe. He's putting up a TV, and this gal comes in. Yep, here she is. I think I know a woman like this. She kind of looks like her. And she's kind of has that attitude. Yeah, she looks like who I know. Yeah, I said she was bitching at me. There's a difference. You're fired because of that bitch. There's something odd about William Zabka, who plays Johnny Lawrence. He almost seems like he's got a higher voice now than he did when he was in Karate Kid. He doesn't seem like this tough guy. He seems like a regular guy who's trying to make ends meet. He loves his car, and it's starting to fade. Everything's starting to fade. Everything's already faded. Eating crap food, and he's not really got anything going on. It's funny, this thing came along when I was, just when I needed it. I was really out of balance. I looked at this series, especially the beginning, I really looked at it as a reminder to go back and find balance. What's cockeyed in your life? And I thought about a few things, and it helped me focus a little bit. I know it's silly. It's just a show about a guy who does karate, right? It's just a guy who becomes a teacher, right? Well, we can find a message. We can find a reminder for things all over the place. And I found it in Cobra Kai. It really works good. And the high school guys that were cast to be jerks, and they probably aren't high school guys. They're probably all in their 20s. I mean, they've got to be. They've got to be in their 20s. They have to be in their 20s. one bad day goes from lame, just another day, to a bad day, to a worse day. Now you're going to get a fight. When I saw this first, it was after work, and I played it in my car, not watching it. But when I get to the point where there's a fight, I had to pull over. Like, okay, I'm not just listening to this. I'm watching this. And within the first day, within the first 8 hours, probably watched it 3 times, one with my son. That's one thing that kind of bothers me. When Kyler, the bully kid, I don't know, I think he's Korean, maybe he's Japanese, I don't know. He's talking deep and he's trying to intimidate and beat up on Miguel. And he takes the bottle of Pepto-Bismol and he opens it up to pour it on Miguel. The guy who plays Miguel, he leans forward and he wouldn't do that. It made it just totally possible for him to pour all over his head. It's on stage to look the right way. And it just keeps sticking in my mind when I see it every time. Is you back your head up, you back away, and it hardly ruins this at all. And first kick, ow! And Johnny hurts himself. He hasn't done this in a long time. And he's only dishing out what's delivered to him. He's got 3-4 guys on him. He only strikes when necessary. These aren't his lessons. He doesn't strike first, strike hard, and he doesn't show them no mercy. He revisits upon them. Is that all you got, ladies? He just revisits upon them what they dish out to him. He does all right, but the cops come and they think he's the instigator and they mace him and he gets hauled away. All the way to jail. Bad day. Lousy day. Real hyper-condensed series of events that we had a lot more time to breathe in the Karate Kid when it was Daniel. This time it's Johnny, and some things feel very familiar. They keep moving. They keep moving. The kid goes to the mentor, and the mentor refuses. That's the different part from Karate Kid. But it is Johnny, much like Daniel in the first movie. He does need the mentor relationship, but he needs to be the mentor. In Karate Kid, Daniel needed the mentor himself. It's a nice reversal. It's a nice change, yet. Yeah, well, here we go. Here's Ed Asner, complete asshole. Oh, he's creepy. He knows how to play. He knows how to play a kind of a sleazy guy, selfish, sleazy guy. And we see Johnny isn't like him. Johnny doesn't respect this guy. Stepfather. What kind of a stepfather? He's still good. He's still got it. Looks like he may have had a stroke. I guess if he did, I didn't know. Part of it, really only the left half of his face that's enunciating and moving. But I only noticed because I noticed it said Asner. Oh, he's hilarious. Yeah, he's something else. He really is. And of course, he's got an affinity for the 80s. He's watching 80s movies and all of that. Well, so Ed Asner, he's 90. It was 88, 89 when the first one came out. Of course, he's going to see more of Danny and really annoy him. I think there was more music in the Karate Kid, and so this sort of fits the style of what the Karate Kid did. We get Foreigner, Head Games, Lousy Day again, and he's got to go driving and remembering his glory days, drinking behind the wheel, thinking of Hallie with an eye, and Danny slinking into the periphery of his life. And the story of his life is told with the music of Foreigner. You know, like you do. It just further underscores that Daniel he very well may be in Johnny's mind, he may be the thing that unbalanced his life, where things started to come apart. I don't know if this feels like an 80s thing at all, or just has enough of the reminders and callbacks to Karate Kid in the 80s. It does have kind of a feel because it just goes from bad to worse. It's kind of like an 80s comedy, you know, as if it was a kid. Oh, I guess I didn't realize this. When he's thinking about this, they are intercutting between the beginning of Karate Kid 2, where Kreese goes after him. But they also had, this guy just gets hit now. They also have somebody who looks like, when it's really a close up and from behind, Kreese and young Johnny Lawrence at the location where it happened. That's where he's parked his car and all that. So it's like he's watching it. I didn't notice that before. Yeah. I mean, it is funny. He gets hit in the face with an airbag. His car, which is failing on him, gets hit and it fails on him completely. It's probably the only thing that he's got from his past that he remembers that's any good. He says, "Where's his kid? His kid's not with him. He doesn't have a son." It's the kind of thing that really got to me because at the time I was living further away from my son than I would have liked, and I didn't see him that much, and I always felt lousy. Johnny, where's Johnny's son? And it's the sort of thing that really hits me really hard. So I'm sure there's a lot of guys who grew up watching The Karate Kid that are in a similar position or were in a similar position before seeing this. And did some, right below the belt. It's a kick to the face is what it was. He's got to go and get his car from the place he does not want to be. LaRusso Autos. I want to get my car and get the hell out of Dodge. He put his sunglasses on. He's kind of hunched over. Doesn't want to be seen at all. His hood is creeped up on his back to the middle part of his head. Watching this, there is no, at least as for me as a member of the audience, I never felt like Danny was. You understood why Johnny didn't want to have anything to do with Daniel, why he really negatively thought of him. Didn't want to be at the loser auto. Always wanted to get away. Didn't want to have to look at his face ever again. Now here he is, right in front, face to face. So, and everything's okay for Danny. He sees him and he treats him well. He treats Johnny well. He thinks well of him. And Johnny wants to get the hell out of Dodge. Yeah, now he's trapped. He's trapped because he's got to get the hell out of here. They are at odds, but I didn't dislike Daniel. I didn't dislike Johnny. In fact, I really like Johnny in this. I really connected with him. But everything that happens comes at Johnny. He's not seeking any of this stuff out. In fact, in this episode, he's a real passive character because everything happens to him. It happens at him. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want his car hit, towed. He doesn't want to lose his job. He doesn't have to deal with people who are really aggressive, antagonistic jerks. His stepfather, he certainly doesn't want him in his life. This kid, this neighbor kid, just let me be. Just let me be, kid. He inadvertently does the right thing, gets more attention from the kid, just wants to get the hell away. But you know what? When it comes down to it, towards the end, this is when he becomes active. This is where he takes a stand. He takes a stand in the fight. And that's where we kind of like him. But at the end, that's where he decides to change his life around and work towards balance. We're coming to it. Danny just told him about Cobra Kai. Hey, you know what? I don't blame you. Back in the day, he put the idea in his head, I guess. Of course, there's the girl from the car. And of course, she's related to Danny LaRusso. So everything, it seems like everything bad has to do with LaRusso, the LaRussos. The LaRussos and the Lawrences, the Hatfields and the McCoys. Here it is. He doesn't, I don't blame you for what happened back in the day. This is where he says, Cobra Kai. This is the part that made me sit up and take notice. It's when you start to hear the beginning of that Alan Parsons song. It's just a swelling before you start hearing the guitar part. I don't think it's arpeggios, but whatever, you know. You just knew it was going to happen. There he is. No. I'm going to be your sensei. That, I love that. You want this guy to do well. And he spells it right out. Very, very politically incorrect. Your pussy generation is sadly lacking. He's going to instill these values in Miguel, show him not to be afraid, not to be picked on, not to be pushed around, not to be bullied. Show them you're a guy who isn't going to roll over. You can strike back. I love that. It was, it made me feel really good. I know it's a show about karate. It's a show about a kid from high school and a guy who's, Mr. Miyagi was all alone. Johnny Lawrence is all alone. He needs a teacher. This makes us go back and think, what was going on in Mr. Miyagi's life? He needed to be a teacher. He needed to convey this. He didn't have anybody to bestow this gift to anybody except for Danny. He was a handyman. I was forgetting about this. Mr. Miyagi was a handyman in this. It starts off, Johnny Lawrence is a handyman. He's living in an apartment complex or something like that. So is Mr. Miyagi. He was the guy there. He was presumably either the on-site fix-it man or he was the manager of the place. Not so lucky for Johnny, but he has the opportunity to open up his own karate dojo. He has the opportunity to take the lessons he learned, even from a guy who was a jerk. Again, it's the thin end of the wedge. He's much more than a jerk. Take the lessons he learned that initially brought him balance when he was a kid with a lousy stepfather. Take those lessons, the heart of them, the core of them, not how Kreese poisoned them, and bring that to this other kid who reminds him of himself. Miguel reminds Johnny of Johnny as a little kid. But with this all going on now, as fans of the Karate Kid, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Let me back it up and just take a look at did I get the rules wrong? I think I got the rules wrong. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Okay, so we are officially reminded of the code, the Cobra Kai code. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. We didn't really get that in the beginning of this episode or much of the episode. Johnny's actions weren't strike first. They weren't strike hard because they kept coming after him. And no mercy, Well, it probably wasn't an opportunity, but regardless, we're now shown these were the rules. This was the code that seemed to give Daniel and Johnny at the end of Karate Kid didn't sit well with the rules. Not then. Are we going to see these and think, oh, this isn't right? It probably is exactly what the makers want, because as we go on, Johnny unveils these rules to Miguel in a way that apply outside the dojo. Strike first doesn't just mean go and hit someone before they hit you. Strike first. There's an opportunity. Take the opportunity. Strike now. Strike at the opportunity now. The example is there's a cute girl at school. Well, you're going to wait for all the other guys to ask her out first. Strike first. Go over there and ask her out. The other rules, I think, strike hard was, give it your all, essentially. Strike hard, yeah, you fight hard in the match. But do whatever you do with your full attention, your full effort, and no mercy. Life doesn't present you easy. A pass doesn't present you with an easy path. No mercy. Life comes at you with no mercy. So you will go forward, headlong towards life with no mercy. So these are different rules, or at least a different emphasis. And Danny LaRusso doesn't know that. He sees none of this. As the series goes on, he sees none of what Johnny is really teaching. So of course he doesn't like it. This is where all the conflict is. But it was interesting to see, much like in Karate Kid, all these tasks in Mr. Miyagi's backyard and all of that. You're just getting slave labor, pal. No, Daniel's son, you are learning. And as an audience member of Cobra Kai, we see the lessons and the code of the Cobra Kai dojo, but then we learn, oh, it does mean something else. I think it was very clever. I think it was very enjoyable. I really wish that the next season would get here a lot sooner than it's going to. Apparently, it's the end of the year, the end of 2020. Won't be on YouTube. Apparently, it will be some other streaming outlet. Sooner would be better. But this is just the first episode. This is just my reaction of something I've seen probably 10 times now, maybe a dozen times. I'm extremely satisfied. I was pleased the first time I saw it, and I've been pleased every time after that. Everyone I've shown it to. I've shown it to friends, and I've shown it to family, and I don't know anybody who hasn't appreciated it yet, at least on a basic level. I think because there's a lot here, and they've done it well. Maybe I will go and do, maybe I'll go and do the next episode. Soon? Now? I'll probably do it now. I just love all this. My son will probably walk in on me and think I'm ridiculous, but maybe he'll have something to say. I hope so. Well, that fixed it. The first time I loaded that thing up, no video. I at least had one image I had in mind, and I did it wrong. So I fixed it. I'd reloaded this video with some imagery from the series, just to make it a little easier to watch. It's a work in progress. I'm learning as we go. I actually used to do video editing, so once I get more memory, and once I get my actual computer back in working order, I think I'll be able to do some of that. Of course, it's going to slow me down, and I do like doing these. So on the one hand, I'm going to want to kick out a reaction here or there, or whatever other videos I'd like to do. But I'm also going to want to do them right. It really hurts. It really hurts my motivation when I see somebody like, well, the big ones are a real problem to match up to. but I want to do more, and I see somebody like the Critical Drinker, and geez, I don't have editing capability right now the way that he does, or some other great reviewers, and that's getting in my way. But gradual momentum, picking up, obstacles getting hurdled over gradually, and should you have patience, I'll have more, and probably better to look at as well. Thanks very much for your time, and check out my other videos. I did take a little review, look back at Cobra Kai's second episode, and more to come. I did one about the Twilight Zone, favorite series of mine. One of them, I've got many, and another one on the way. It's in the to be released column for me. I'm holding off quite possibly until Friday at midnight. We'll see if I hold out that long. It is actually Doctor Who, another one of my big favorites. Since I did the Twilight Zone, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, it made me think of this one particular Doctor Who story. So I had to do it. Look for more. Comments are certainly welcome. Likes are obviously welcome. Subscriptions, certainly welcome. I might have to earn that from you guys, but I'm on the way. Thanks very much again. We'll talk to you soon. See you again.